Okay, so I realized I don't have a overall explanation of the application, and that's what these next two videos are going to be about. This one is going to be focused on my concept or thoughts to how you should implement this software. So at the beginning of the year, Finn or First, whoever it is, issues to everybody, here's this year's challenge, 2026. We're calling it whatever we're calling it. Here's how points are. You get all the data. You get all your programming groups. Your robotic groups are all fast and furious designing and building a robot. The scouting team needs to sit down and say, okay, let's bring this up. Let's come out here and let's configure the challenge for what we're going to score. What do we see as important? And so they're going to figure this out to the best of their ability, and then they're going to want to test it. So they export it to the scouting units. They will run mock scouting data tests and decide that, oh, this question shouldn't be a question, it should be a checkbox, or we forgot this, or whatever all the changes are. So you're going to come back here and say, oops, well, I got all this data now. I want to get rid of it. So towards that end, we underneath setting, you have delete all scoring records for a year. So what you can do is execute this, come down here and choose whatever year you want to kill all the scouting records for, and hit delete, and they're gone. That's a SQL that just basically resets the tables for that year. Now, you can come back here as brand new. Your configuration still exists because this is actually base unit data, not scouting data. This is what the scouting data is based upon. Make all the changes you want in the world. Come back, save it all, push it back out to the scouting units, run some more tests and play around with it till everybody gives a thumbs up. And then maybe there's one presentation that the scouting group does to the rest of the robotics team saying, here's our vision of how we're going to scout these events. And they can do a presentation to the group and get feedback from everybody associated. And if that ends up with changes, okay, kill all your test data, go make some more changes, test it out again, however many times that iteration may take. And I think as you have migration of people through their various grades of school, you'll have new kids coming in who will need more iterations. Older kids who have been doing it for a year or two will have less iterations, but it's a constant moving cycle. So that is my envision for how this is to be used. Another thought that I had was that year over year, a particular team, Cyber Blue, 868, Tech Hounds, whomever, you can't really compare last year's team to this year's team because of all the rollover of people involved in the club. The challenge is new. Everything about it's new. You may have new programmers this year. Last year you had seniors. So you can't compare a team this year to last year. There's no reason to keep that data in the system. So what I've done is create this bottom scouting or the settings record that says blow away the entire database. Basically, that resets the software back to a fresh install. It takes all the year, the competition, the configuration, all the scouting data, it's all gone. Goes back to zero. So then you can start fresh again. Now, you have an option there to keep the actual physical teams, the actual database that says, here's all the teams we played last year. Go ahead and keep those. Then basically you should just then import the event matches. And if it fails because you missed somebody, okay, somebody new signed up for this that you didn't play last year. Go ahead and add them. That kind of thing. But that's where this came from. Okay, the last thing I want to point out on this video is and I'm going to jump back here to the code in my sandbox that I build code in, and say I've added an entire program, reset scouting database exe, to the Scout units install. Now, this is born from an actual happening here at the house. When I was building this, we've had quite a number of pretty ferocious storms this year, and this is the beginning of May 2025. And we took a serious power hit, literally, as I was pushing data from the server unit to the scouting unit. And actually, in my life, I've had that happen three times. But this one pretty much upset me, because then I discovered that the database on the scouting unit was corrupted. And that application, the scouting unit application, basically is an entirely dynamic application. Your screens are basically generated from the data in the database. It's all ties back to the configuration that you did on the server app. So the app itself would not execute because he couldn't even begin to start to configure himself to give you a screen because the database was incomplete and corrupted. So that was kind of an oops. So the way to fix that is just kind of clean out the data that's in the database and just re-import it. And that's what this program does. This is part of the install. It will go to the same location that the Scout exe, which is the program that you actually have that is the scouting system. So if your database gets corrupt, the system won't boot on that end. You can launch this and just wipe it all out. So, and then it'll boot, and then you can just give it a new database and move on from there. So anyhow, that is the end of this video. I'm going to do one more on the scouting side of things, I believe. And I want to also do one on the Linux side of things. So that would be it for this one.